IDF kills 3 shirtless Israeli hostage waving a white flag calling for help in Hebrew. So if they're going to slaughter their own hostages, I mean, the Israeli hostages, what do you think they're doing to Palestinians? Palestinians have no chance. Here's the story. Ready? 3 Israeli hostages who were shot. Oh, do I have no? 3 Israeli hostages who were shot and killed Friday by Israeli forces were shirtless, and one of them was waving a white flag of surrender. And who said that? An Israeli military official said that. 2 hostages were killed immediately. The third was wounded and yelling for help in Hebrew before being shot again.
Yeah, they're that not good at it at the IDF, which I was told was amazing. They're not. It's a trick. There's an old Bible story about, the word shibboleth.
Yeah, I've heard it. I don't know what it means.
Okay, so the way Israel in the Bible, I can't remember who they had to slaughter, but the people were pretending to be Hebrews to get by, and so their test was go pronounce shibboleth, and the people from whatever their adversarial tribe was couldn't say sh sounds.
Oh, really?
Or something. So when they couldn't pronounce it right, they would know and kill them. That's an old Bible story. That's where we get shibboleth from. But it's interesting, like there's no shibboleth that they could have said or pronounced a Hebrew word properly. We'll know you're Hebrew.
3 hostages were identified, and the IDF has identified a nearby building marked with SOS and help 3 hostages. So the hostages put SOS, help, 3 hostages. They wrote that on a building. IDF still slaughtered their own hostages. 2 days earlier, but had believed it. They thought it was a trap. Reactions around the world Saturday morning were incredulous. Sarah Leah Whitson, executive director of Dawn, tweeted, thousands of Palestinians have described how Israel fires at unarmed people who pose no threat, but only when it happens to Israelis do people believe it. We wrote a report some years ago specifically on the topic of Israel shooting at Gazans waving white flags. They shoot aid, they shoot Red Cross workers, they shoot nurses, they shoot people in wheelchairs, they shoot kids, they shoot everybody. The Israeli Information Center for Human Rights in the occupied territories tweeted, "It is prohibited by international humanitarian law and basic moral principles to shoot people who yielded and carry a white flag, regardless whether they're combatants or not, regardless of their nationality and religion." Owen Jones, a columnist for The Guardian, tweeted, 3 obviously unarmed shirtless Israeli hostages yelling in Hebrew, waving a white flag, were shot dead by Israeli troops. Palestinian civilians don't stand a chance. Hundreds of relatives and maybe it's wishful thinking on my part, but I get a sense in my bones that this is not going to turn out well for Israel in the long run. This is not.
You don't think so?
I'm just telling you, this is not gonna be good.
Because they're not gonna. They're mad. So they're not dividing the people over. Oh, who do you like better, the Arab side or the Israeli side? Israelis now are split.
That's right.
Because the weird hybridizing of ultra religious with ultra religious Zionists who don't like each other, with secular, with all that, and no constitution. And no rights, and the guys taking over their government, and now this, and those guys took their shirt off to show they don't have a bomb on them, is my guess, right?
Yeah, that's why
so
they
they're
did
like,
that.
we got to do because they know. Oh, that
They'll
means
shoot
they
it.
know they'll shoot us.
So the Israelis who are hostages of Hamas know that if they don't take their shirt off, they're going to get shot. They know it. So they took their shirt off and they got shot anyway.
IDF's like,
they know the IDF shoots unarmed people, even if they're waving white flags. They know all that
they
stuff.
They go, hey, should we call it a firebombing? Like, no, they might be our people. Let's just shoot them.
Let's just shoot them.
No, don't go crazy. We don't know that they're Arabs.
Hundreds of relatives and supporters of hostages still held by Palestinian militants demonstrated outside the Israeli Ministry of Defense in Tel Aviv on Friday night. Insane. 3 hostages were shirtless, waving white flags when they were shot. One of them managed to escape while shouting for help in Hebrew, but our soldiers still chased and executed him. This is Caitlin Johnstone says Israeli forces killed escaped Israeli hostages who were waving a white flag because they mistook them for Palestinian civilians waving a white flag. Another category of person whom Israeli forces routinely kill. So their defense is, oh, I thought they were Palestinians waving a white flag. You're not supposed to kill anybody waving a white
but that's
flag.
how they trick us, so we're allowed to break the rules. As the great Ben Gurion said, better to shoot the guy first and then apologize when it was a white flag and your own guy.
Max Blumenthal says, Israel invaders recently massacred Palestinian families sheltering in a North Gaza school, holding a white flag on a stick. Western media ignored the monstrous crime and still refused to delve into the mega scandal of Israel's massacre of its own citizens on October 7th with heavy weapons. I would like to get Vivek's take on this.
About how they were shooting their own people like idiots on October. Wasn't 7 hours before they got there. No, they got 7 hours of work done. Just wasn't very good work.
Breaking huge protests against the Israeli government in Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, Haifa, and other cities. The protesters demand that the hostages be returned home, and some are demanding the fail of the entire Israeli government. The fail?
The cabinet. Fall of the cabinet.
Oh, the fall. I'm sorry. And the fall, that's fall of the entire...
The fail happened already.
The fail already happened, right. This comes after the Israeli military admitted to killing 3 Israeli hostages despite flying when here's the protest, that they're protesting over it. So
this is why,
let the record reflect that the mass murder of 10,000 Palestinian children was not the cause of these protests. What caused these protests to erupt in Israel's deeply racist society was the killing by Israel's military of 3 Israelis waving a white flag. They don't give a shit about the 10,000.
But whatever gets you to the thing's got to change, because obviously they hate them, so it was never going to change. It's an unworkable system like actual apartheid in South Africa was.
Right.
It ain't going to change until the actual people, even if they're racist, which I'm sure many are, they have to be like, this isn't working for anybody. That's your only step to it changing. So like, okay, yeah, no, I know. The record reflects that. You should be encouraged that this is happening because that's the only way it's going to change.
Well, there's $500 billion in oil and gas associated with Israel taking over Gaza and the West Bank. So I think that they're going to keep pushing and pushing until... this is going to be. There's no way. I'm bad at making predictions. People know way more about this situation than I do, but I just get this sense that this is going to turn out not only not the way Israel wants it to, but way worse than they want it to.
Well, it already has been.
An Israeli think tank did a study, and of all the protests around the world over Israel-Palestine, 95% of them, of the protests worldwide, were in favor of Palestine.
I never heard that before. There's
no way but maybe you weren't here the day we covered that.
No. I mean, but that happening before.
No.
Now.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. No. This is. They're not.
I didn't know anything about it until very recently, and I don't,
just like Vivek couldn't bullshit our audience about his. I mean, that's not really saying that I'm not the president of Israel. I'll just stop giving them money and wash my. You can't wash your hands of this. That was kind of a morally cowardice kind of a position to take. But again, better than all the people running. Isn't that wild?
You cannot take a moral position and be president of the United. Who in their fever dreams thinks that a good man is going to be or woman is going to be the president?
I know.
What do you think the job is? It's not being good.
I mean, Cornel West has a much better position on Israel-Palestine, but he's not really running for president.
It's
I'm saying of all the people actually running for president.
He and Vivek insulted my intelligence the least of any of the people you've had on. And yes, that is a moral cowardice thing, but it was the least insulting one of all of them. It was the least insulting one because there was somebody.
It is a solution to the problem. If America did stop backing this and stop funding it,
I don't know how he pulled that off, but
it would end.
No one else. That's letting you know. Well, I think we could cut this stuff off, and then I could, because politically, how in the hell would you say this and become president? How would you?
He's not good. He's not running for president. He's I think
Vice president. You could be
Vivek
vice
is running for
president.
vice president. Don't you think?
Yeah, and then because a lot of stuff is changing, it ain't going to be, it's a few years before you see really where it comes out. I mean, look how long it took for 9/11 to get us here, like 20 years or more.
Yeah, right.
So this is actually pretty accelerated, the change going on, and it's not stupid corporate woke. Again, he's right about that. Although I'm not impressed that you think woke.
Yeah.
I always thought it sucked.
Come see us do a live stand-up show. We'll be in Venice, California, Palmdale, California, Omaha, Des Moines, Milwaukee, Lansing, Bend, Oregon, Portland, Oregon, Seattle, Washington, Boston, Massachusetts, and we're going to Europe. Do you live in Europe? We're going to be there. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for all those tickets.